Susan Rice, not the only Obama administration national security member trying to keep quiet, and not the only one certainly around which there is any lack of interest at this point. Just last week, Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson turned down a request to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Fusion GPS is the firm that hired former British spy Christopher Steele, the man who produced the infamous dossier of lies against President Trump. Our first guest tonight says it looks like an epidemic of unmasking was taking place in the Obama administration, and that crimes may have been committed. Joining us tonight, Fox News anchor, former defense attorney Gregg Jarrett. Greg, good to see you.
Good to see you, Lou.
This is remarkable. First, we find out that Susan Rice is not going to keep her schedule and purportedly wants to have a weekend testimony date, but yet the word still is that she's going to appear at some point, again, a date unnamed, before the Senate Intelligence Committee. What do you make of all of
Well, this tells me that lawyers have gotten involved. Lawyers have probably told her to clam up, wait for a subpoena. When you get a subpoena, it's time to play let's make a deal without Monty Hall, because she's in legal jeopardy. If it's true, all of the evidence that has been uncovered about her unmasking, there's three potential crimes here. It's a crime to lie in your request to unmask. There's only one reason you can cite it's national security. If the document on its face shows no national security concerns, then you've lied. It's also a crime to use your public office, her office, for a corrupt purpose, and that would be to lie. And a third crime is, as we all know, it's a crime to unmask and leak a name to the media like Michael Flynn. So at least one crime was committed here and likely many more.
Yeah, that one crime certainly involves Michael Flynn, because there is, as Sherlock Holmes would say, no other possibility other than the fact that his name was leaked.
Right. And it'll be interesting to see if they get to the bottom of it. I have a feeling that they will eventually be able to determine the number of people who had access to Flynn's name and then whittle that list down to the individual who leaked it. We'll wait and see.
And encouraging in that regard is the fact that we're now learning, Fox News has learned that the number of individuals involved in the unmasking, we're now told, is widening. Therefore, we're getting a better idea of exactly who was involved, or we wouldn't know even that.
Yeah, it's not just Samantha Power and Susan Rice, but John Brennan as well. And we're led to believe that there are even more individuals.
Right.
Usually, it's one or two who will ask for national security reasons to unmask the name of an American who is caught up in incidental collection. This many people? It does make you wonder, is it true that the Obama administration, in the last year in office, was undertaking a concerted effort to hurt the Donald Trump campaign and then the presidency of Donald Trump?
In widening the distribution of raw intelligence, they assured that there would be leaks because just of the vastly greater number of people that heretofore had not been permitted to be aware of those names. They have achieved that purpose, certainly. Now, in terms of the unmasking itself, this gets to be very serious. These are serious crimes for which there will be accountability if the names are actually learned and proved.
That's correct. And others have been charged with leaking not just classified information, but the names of Americans who have been caught up in incidental collection. And I would imagine that once they determine who did it here, they're going to be indicted. Now, is it going to be a member of the administration? It would have to be, because they're the only ones who had access, top administration officials, to the intelligence community that actually does the collection.
As we look forward to the possibilities, and I realize the possibilities are, well, many, but is it your sense that executive privilege can be asserted here that would serve as an effective barrier against any further inquiry on the part of these committees?
No, and I don't think there's any motivation to invoke executive privilege. Only the president can actually invoke it. And you have a new president who wants to accomplish just the opposite, to uncover this information. And indeed, it was the White House and the White House counsel's office that found out that all of this unmasking was taking place. They did their own investigation, and they said, wait a minute, what's going on here? They notified Congress, and here we are.
And the Trump administration may have its day, after all, against those who had acted directly against their interests.
As they should. It's not just a crime against the names revealed in the administration. It's a crime against the people. This is not something that should ever be done. The surveillance, unmasking of collected names of Americans, that is hypersensitive and private information.